Super personal, who takes care of finances, bills, budgeting, planning, etc. Advice for a stay-at-home mom who wants to help her husband financially. We managed to hustle the thing up onto the back of the truck. It just has caused depression, but you know, there is an element too where they won't wait. However, I did get my hormones tested and I found out 3 things. It's like someone said, you sniff a cupcake and it ends up on your hips. It's a good question. No answers. It's Q&A time. I haven't done one of these in ages and I look forward to doing it. I'm known to be a little bit windy. So if you want, just get some work done while we chat or grab yourself a cup of coffee like I did and we'll just sit down and have some conversations. I have a bunch of random questions you all submitted and I did not compile them in any order, so this is gonna be really random, not really topic driven, just answering random questions from you guys. I'll start off with a very simple one. How often do you guys camp in the summer? It really varies. We go maybe 1 time, 3 times, depends how often we feel led to or how busy our schedule is. We love camping and I'm so excited for summer. What are some things on your bucket list? Oh my, so many things on the bucket list, right? We love to travel. If you're a part of this channel, you know that. Nolan and I really want to go to Peru. Machu Picchu, up in the mountains, absolutely beautiful. So Peru is on our bucket list, that's one thing. I don't know, it's just basically my main thing on my bucket list is to make sure that we create memories while the children are home, even if it's difficult, and just go where the path may lead. Seeking out new adventures. That's probably number 1 on the bucket list, is just to make sure we're being intentional about creating memories, long-lasting memories with our family. I've spoken of this before. We often travel in a way where the deals pop up or we find cheap flights to or wherever, and we often just end up going there and we end up being surprised at maybe a place that we never had on our bucket list and we really enjoyed it. So moving on. Someone asked, how is Mama Java doing? This is the coffee brand that we started last year. It is blowing me out of the water. It's been doing amazing and you guys have been an amazing support. It's been a fun venture, an awesome community, and I don't know, I'm just so excited about it. And I decided, you know what, since someone brought it up, I'm just going to have a discount code for just YouTube. I'm not going to share it on Instagram or with our subscriber list. But if you want to join our subscribe list over on mamajava.com, you'll get like the latest sales and updates and little stories and sneak peeks. So I'll have a code down below. Just put in the Mennonite Mom and I'll give you 15% off just for this weekend. This is one of our best sellers. We have over 101 reviews on it. It's the Messy Bun. It's one of my favorite coffees. It works in drip, it works in espresso. Another big seller is Toddler Proof. I don't have it here. And our espresso blend, which is a dark roast for espresso machines. Anyway, you can get it ground or whole bean. It's all the options on the website. And we also have Swiss water decaf. So anyway, enough of a plug. Make sure to grab up that 15% off because we don't do them very often. Also, I've been wanting to do an update on Life Water. I haven't done that for a while, which is an organization that we donate to, $1 for every bag sold. Last year we did over $8,000, and to me that's just phenomenal for a small startup. And I believe it takes about $60, $65 on average to bring clean, healthy drinking water to one person. Let me just figure it out here quickly. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I think it was like around 8,300. So that would be about 138 people that were helped or potentially helped by you all supporting us. So that means a lot. Anyway, so thank you for that. Moving on. Advice for a stay-at-home mom who wants to help her husband financially. I haven't really pre-thought about these, but I'll just share some of the things that I have done and a little bit of advice maybe before you join in ventures. Sometimes it can look really glamorous when you see other people, especially right now. It's just like the whole in thing where, you know, you're stay-at-home mom and maybe you have some side hustles going on, or the whole work from home, start your own business kind of thing. It can look appealing and I think it's fun. I've always enjoyed, I've always had sort of a business craving side of me that I enjoy that. However, just keep in mind that it looks more glamorous than it is. There's so much headache and stress and frustration that can happen. So many things that can take away from you being a stay-at-home mom. So That's something I have had to work through and balance in life, and one of the reasons I've been pulling back a little bit more from YouTube. And you don't fully realize until you're in it some of the downsides of that, so I'm just bringing it up. However, I think it's a great thing. I think it's wonderful, especially in its place, and I'm still trying to find my way through all that. One thing that I really enjoyed that is very easy, doesn't require a lot of like business, like starting your own business, is buying and selling items. It's a whole world that I don't think people realize the potential that's there. It can take a lot of work and a lot of effort, but if you need just a little bit of extra spending money, and some people make a whole like livelihood out of this, just going around to like yard sales, if you don't have a lot of time to get out, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, wonderful places to go. And some people just don't understand the value, and so if you pick something that you really understand well. For me, back in the day, I'm such a nerd, and I love camera gear, and I really understood the specs and everything. And back then, eBay did not charge taxes, and now they do. So that kind of, that's a little bit difficult sometimes to make a profit. But I would like find a really good deal, say on Facebook or eBay, often eBay, and I would purchase it because it was like someone that didn't know how to take pictures very well. It was a horrible picture, nobody wanted to buy it. Simple steps like taking a really good quality listing and writing a description that's very detailed and make people trust you. And then, so I would buy that, test it out, take much better pictures, make sure everything's working properly. And if something, by the way, didn't work that I sold and someone came back to me, I would take it back and refund. Like, make sure you're honest, like when you're flipping things. Like, you can actually do very well at this. Sometimes you make $20 profit. You know, the larger the items go, usually the more profit you can make. Sometimes it's 50. And I remember there was times that you almost hit 100 and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And it really was. But it can take a lot of time and effort. But the nice thing about it is you can do it in your spare time. You can just sit down with a cup of coffee and browse eBay, whatever, look for deals. I think it's a little bit harder nowadays, but Facebook Marketplace is a great one. And don't be afraid to relist it on Facebook. Like, just get much better pictures. Anyway, so that is one thing that I think is a great entry. And then along with that, if you're into the whole credit card points game, which I am, I've talked about that before, you can use your credit card to pay on eBay without any like charges or fees, and then you can turn around and sell it for cash on Facebook Marketplace to pay off your credit card. And so then you're racking up points on your credit card, but you're not really, it's not really money out of pocket, it's just a business transaction. You can even check like the free section. And I made a video once and I understood people's feedback. They were like, that's just horrible that you're going and taking free items from someone when someone else that needs them could take them. And that is a very legitimate point. I hardly ever did it, but I always recommend like you check with them, make sure they're not giving it away to donate. Sometimes there's like people give away toys or bed sets or whatever, and they clearly say they want to give it to someone that needs it. Other times they're saying something like, we're doing spring cleaning, we want rid of this and we want rid of it now. Whoever comes first gets it. And so things like that. And different times I would tell people, are you okay with it if I pick this up for my business of reselling it? Because I don't want to be that shady looking person that's like, okay, go grab up all the free things and make a profit, because that's not a fun way to do it. But if you're really struggling, that can be, you'd be amazed at the free things that people will give away. I'll give one story. Quite a few, it was back when Zander was a little guy, there was this arcade game that popped up that was free. A free, big standing, I don't know anything about arcades, but I just know this thing had to be worth something. I just immediately messaged the person and I said, I will pick it up, I will take it, I will be the first person. I didn't ask any questions because I knew that there had to be a list from here to Harrisburg that wanted to pick it up. So he gave me priority even though there was a ton of other people. And we managed, between him and I and someone else, we managed to hustle the thing up onto the back of the truck and bring it home, and I managed to get it down with a skid loader. I was trying to do all this without Nola needing to be bothered. Anyway, this thing was worth like $800, maybe even more, and we sold it to some gaming guy that just loved this kind of stuff. And it was some vintage arcade thing and it worked, and that was insane. So I'm just saying, people will get rid of things for free because they just want them out of the house. And I have done that myself too. I just want things out of my space, come and take them. I don't care who takes it. So just be conscious of when you do things like that, that you're being respectful to the people that are giving it away. And anyway, just some tips. But that is a great way. That's like no risk, just some of your time, and you can just do it whenever you have time. I know there's people that do furniture flipping as well. You buy furniture, you clean it up, you take great pictures, you stage it and resell it. I've heard people that do incredibly well. Just look at it. It's called retail. Is it called retail arbitrage? Maybe that's one of them. Yeah, just people that just, that's just their livelihood. And it's so much fun because you're your own boss, and you can do it at your own hours. And it makes it nice if your husband is the main breadwinner and the pressure's not on you. Anyway, I have talked about that enough. There's obviously lots of other things that people try, but like with any business, there's just a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of, you just have to really know what you want and know what you're getting into. So that's just the main thing that pops up to me that is easy to do, doesn't require, a lot of forethought and a lot of investment. And you can just start with nothing except a car and some gas and a phone to look at your app. Another thing that I have done, this isn't so much about income, but with camera, just a volunteer, like if you are good at photography, or maybe you could learn photography, offer your services in exchange for something. Like we've done that on trips in exchange for stays. We take photos of their place. So there's a lot of little avenues like that that I feel can just open so many doors. And I love that. I love finding a way to be helpful as a stay-at-home mom, but yet still keeping motherhood as your priority. Anyway, so that was probably a little long-winded. Obviously, there could be a whole video made on that question. How has your health been lately? I will try not to bore you guys, but I will quickly just say, God has been so good. I can't believe I've been doing this well. For the past few years, I have little hiccups here and there. For those of you that don't know, I've been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition called ulcerative colitis, which is like ulcers in your large intestine. When you have a flare-up, you pretty much live in the house running to the bathroom. So it's not a whole lot of fun. It hinders your daily life. It makes you really tired. You can't really absorb food. You can't really get out of the house, travel, even go and get groceries. It makes it difficult. So it has been an absolute life-giving, that I am doing as well as I am. One thing I don't often talk about this, but for the past probably 3 or 4 years now, I have been taking colostrum off and on. Sometimes I'm more consistent than others, but I credit so much of my stomach being able to manage it to this, plus other things, but this is bovine colostrum. It's so good for people that have stomach issues. It helps rebuild the lining of your stomach. Like if you have leaky gut, I think some people have even said like acid reflux, they've got help with that. Anything with like IBS, IBD, it's super good. Doctors actually prescribe it under a medical name, and you'll pay an astronomical amount for a month's supply. That's like a bottle this big, and I get it in like 2 pounds for probably half or a quarter of the price of what a doctor would charge for one little bottle of it. I really like this brand. It's a Novate. I have links below if you want to try it out. Disclaimer, I do get a commission from it, but I have been using it consistently, and the amazing thing that just makes my heart sing, I don't believe in cure-alls. I don't claim this will cure you if you have some kind of health issue or gut issue. I have had people that say they've hardly seen any difference, and then I have met people that have had just almost miraculous results from. So you never know if you're the person that could help. It's also really good to give to your children and just help build up your immune system. That comes in like little chewables that you can get that are really good. You can get it in pill form. This is powder form. I like to just mix it up with a smoothie or something. They also make other products that are good for your gut health. Like this one is a colostrum-based supplement that has probiotics in it. Anyway, there's so much. I'm not going to dive into it, but I would highly recommend if you struggle with stomach issues. For me, this has been a lifesaver, and I have relatives and other people that has just been a game changer for them as well. So, yeah, it's not a cure-all for sure. It might not help you, but I'm so thankful to God I found it. Also, things like managing sleep, getting more sleep, trying to manage stress, just a lot of little things like that I'm trying to, and food, of course, my diet, that have been helping me, and God, I give him most of the credit because I believe he is the one that's helping me navigate through all this. On a quick little side note, however, I know I've mentioned this different times on this channel. I've tried not to too much. It just seems like this is constant battle. I really want to lose weight, and I feel like I've been trying, and I feel like it's like someone said, you sniff a cupcake and it ends up on your hips. So I have been asking myself the question, am I just overeating on the foods I am eating? I've been trying and trying. I have done some changes and working with someone this year and has been helping a little bit. So hopefully this year will be the year. However, I did get my hormones tested and I found out 3 things. My health coach told me, I'm working with a health coach. I will talk more about that later if it works. She told me it's like a triple whammy against weight loss. And so it made me kind of relieved to know that maybe it is something with me, but I'm not trying to leave it as an excuse. I'm not like banking on if I get my hormones corrected that I'll just magically lose weight. I have always struggled, but my hormones are not balanced. I'm called estrogen dominant, which makes it really hard to lose weight. And I've heard that people can actually be in a calorie deficit and gain weight if their hormones are like this. And then I am, along with that, I think they kind of go hand in hand. I am insulin resistant, which is another big whammy, and I have to get on top of that. And then another thing is I have higher levels of inflammation in my body, which comes from my autoimmune condition. So those 3 things work against weight loss, and so it kind of made me realize that, yeah, maybe I am trying and doing things well, but maybe there's some other things that are working against me because, yeah, it can get so discouraging. It has been one of those things, and sometimes I don't know how much to open up, but it just has caused depression because I try so hard. I will do maybe go a whole day without eating or a day and a night. Try to eat very low carb foods, and then as soon as I have a cheat day, it's just like everything I worked for is gone. Anyway, so it's been so discouraging because I feel like I look at what some other people are able to eat and the sugars and the junk food, and they just stay nice and slim, and it's just like, how is this even fair? Like the only sugar we pretty much have in our house is ice cream, and I hardly even eat that. And then I just have the occasional, like Zander had cake for his birthday, and so I had some cake. But anyway, I'm not complaining. I'm just hoping that I can find some answers in that department. But I'm so grateful that my stomach and my gut issues are like doing well enough that I can live life well and survive. Anyway, so some of the things I have been doing with the whole weight loss thing, I've been trying to get 3 of these 40-ounce things of water drank. I think that really helps. Every day I try to get in 10,000 steps, and I am starting to implement just a little bit of weight training to try to build muscle, because if you can build some muscle, it'll help increase your metabolism and help burn fat better. So some things I've been trying, we'll see how they go. Anyway, I am jabbering way too much on just a couple questions. Let's get through more of these. Moving on, does your church have cape dresses only, which is like this little piece of extra fabric on top, or do they allow other styles? Our church specifically only does cape dresses. I don't really view it as wrong nor right, and I don't think any of our other church does either. It's just what we do is kind of a cultural thing. If you're Mennonite, you know what I'm talking about, but it's just how we do it at our church. So, and I kind of like it actually. It makes life very simple. And I like simplicity. So when you get up in the morning, you just grab a dress and you can pair it with something if you want, but I don't have to have this battle of pairing skirts and tops or whatever. Not that it's a battle, but it's just one less thing for me to decide, and I like life that way. Someone else asked, maybe it's the same question, I'm going from Instagram to YouTube, if I have a bucket list of travel destinations. If so, what are your top 5? I kind of covered that. Peru, definitely. There is this, it's called the Stairway to Heaven in Austria. And Nolan and I have said we should really, just be brave, and for our 40th birthday, just midlife crisis, go try to climb that thing. If I would ever accomplish that, that would be a feat. Oh my word, heights scare me. So that is a tentative bucket list thing. I don't have, I want to go to Australia for sure. China would be, I just love to travel. I just love to experience new cultures. Just take me anywhere. And yeah, it's amazing. So I'm not like specifically bucket list, but I always do think of travel for bucket list. I should probably actually sit down and write one. A whole bunch of things I want to do before I turn 40, which I only have 5 more years. Oh my word. Does Zander have friends he plays with in your area? Will he be in school soon, or will he be homeschooled? He actually is in school. He's in 1st grade this year, ending 1st grade. We're sending him to a local private school, one of our schools. And yes, he has friends. He has our church friends, lots of cousins. So yeah, lots of little children. Obviously you don't really see them on here because most people don't prefer to be on YouTube, and I rarely like to ask. Do I ever miss teaching? I do sometimes, yes. The other night there was a program where Zander had his end of year program, or kind of spring program at their school, and it just kind of gave that longing to teach again, because I do very much enjoy teaching, but I love the motherhood stage and it's just my season of life. So yeah. This is kind of a longer one. So what is your favorite part of being a mom and a wife and a stay-at-home, work from home mama? Okay, so there's a couple different questions in this lady's comment. My favorite thing, I'll have to think about that one. I think my favorite thing is just kind of being the queen of my castle. I don't know if that makes sense, but I never liked working away, like a 9-to-5 job or something like that. And motherhood is so much harder than that, so much harder, but there's just something so nice about having your own home that you take care of yourself. And half the time it's a disaster, or 3/4 of the time it's hard to keep up. But I do love that I'm in charge of it, in charge of my family, and I love just the life that children bring into your life. It is so difficult and so rewarding all at the same time. It's just hard to put a word on it. Some days you're just like, I can't do this motherhood thing one day more, and then the next day you're like, I want to do this forever. My children better never leave. Anyway, so I don't know if that really answers the question, but I do like working from home. I do very much enjoy the feeling of helping out my husband with finances if I can. I like the fact that he's the main breadwinner and I can just dabble into things. As far as like if I have like a little idea, or maybe we want to go on a trip, and I'll be like, hey, if I can hit this goal, and if I can get all these points, and if I can get this Airbnb host to work with me, can we go here? And so it's been fun to bring that part, doing all that. And I can only do that because I am at home and I don't have a career necessarily in the sense like out of the home. So and to tie with that, how do you manage your daily time with tasks and children and don't get so overloaded? Ha! The $1 million question. And then she asks, is there room for another question? How is it going with your new addition of chickens? The chickens are doing well. We're getting so many eggs, I don't know what to do with them all. But other than that, it's been going good. Okay, managing time. This one is difficult. I don't really have answers. I just try to every day figure something out a little bit more. I think the main key is just to realize that you need to let go of perfection and be okay with it, and I'm still struggling in the being okay with it part. I'm not like super perfectionist, but I can be just so critical of myself, like you're just not doing a good job, you know, you're not being the crafty kind of mom with your children, your house is just terrible, there's fingerprints on the windows, like as soon as you have the house picked up, you know, do you not have your child trained well enough to like not make a huge mess as soon as everything's cleaned up? Like I have a toddler and the house is just in a constant state of, it feels like turmoil sometimes. And then you wonder, like, you're just so exhausted at the end of the day and you just wonder what you did, and you feel like the mom guilt is so real, and I'm struggling to get through that. And I know a lot of other moms do, so if you could just chat below, maybe those of you that have gone before, let us know some ways. It's easy to say, let it go, don't worry about it, not everything has to be done. Like just sit down, let the cobwebs be in the corners, let the dishes, you know, in the sinks, like that favorite saying, the dishes will wait. But, you know, there is an element too where they won't wait. They do need, the laundry does need to be washed, or the children won't have clean clothes. Your family won't, you know, the dishes need to be clean, or we won't have any food. And after a while, it's just all these tasks are so overwhelming and they have to get done. They can't just sit there and you just sit and cuddle your baby all day, all week. There's a balance there. And so in my mind, it's just, how do you understand that knowledge of just, you know, not everything has to be done exactly like you think it does. Just let some of the things go, don't worry about it. And then actually communicating that to your brain and to your heart where you actually don't care. And probably the step is just doing it first enough of times that if you finally fall into like not caring or not being so concerned with some of the things that maybe don't matter quite as much. I don't know if that helps. I'm just rambling from my own experience because man, do I feel that one. If you have a special easy dessert you could share on the channel, like a cooking with me kind of video. I'm just not a cook, okay? Back to the thing, we basically never eat dessert. Basically never. Our dessert consists of ice cream maybe, or some fruit smoothies. And so I just like, I freeze when it comes to making desserts. I really don't know. We're just not dessert people and we don't feel it's that necessary except on special occasions. I'm just not the go-to person. I know I'm a Mennonite, but I'm not the go-to person for cooking. If you want that, you need to go somewhere else. So I'm sorry about that. I'm a very basic, simple cook. Why do you always have to wear skirts or dresses? What about in the wintertime? Sorry, this question is too personal. No, it's perfectly fine. It's just kind of part of our culture, kind of a mentality that dresses are more modest, also more feminine. It's kind of been like a mix of culture and religion, feeling like, you know, this is a one way to practically dress modestly. And in the Mennonite circles, that's just how we do it. And it has probably come to a point where it's held a little bit too high in esteem sometimes, but it's how we do it. I'm fine with it. I love it. I love our culture. Winter, some people will wear dresses in the winter with like pants underneath. Depending what I'm doing, I'll just get in a snowsuit and go, like snowboarding, whatever. It really just depends. Depends on the person. So yeah, it's not like we're freezing or anything, but I know it does look odd if you're wearing a skirt out in the snow and then you have big snow pants underneath. So, you know, things you do in cultures, right? Could you recommend some good, kind children's books? I have lots of friends and family same age as your kiddos, but I have a hard time to find books for them that are interesting and also teaching them to be kind to those around them. Oh boy, this is a question I am not good at answering. I am sorry. I have not been doing that great at reading with my children. We read some Bible stories and a few like little fun ones like Curious George. Well, Zander's kind of growing out of that now. But as far as like books with like lessons, and I just am not much of a reader and I want to get into that more, especially like more Zander's age of reading. Right now Lexi's like picture books and all the fun, cute little, I love Dr. Seuss. But that's not really I'm teaching them to be kind or anything. But I'm really bad when it comes to books and I need to prioritize reading more. I probably will more once Zander is reading fluently and we're handing him books. So anyway, I'm sorry I can't answer that question very well. There's different publishers like kind of among the plain circles. You have Rod and Staff. I kind of have mixed feelings on some of their literature. As far as their stories actually being true to life. A little bit too perfectionist, but I'm not downing them. There's like Christian Light Publications. There's various different books that often end up in our kind of bookstores that it's just easy to go into and pick a book and you know it'll be fine. Maybe you don't really appreciate the story as much, but as far as like morals and those kinds of things, it's usually good to go. So if you're ever in the Lancaster area, which I don't live there, there's like a plethora of bookstores in there. I think Clay Bookstore would be one. Maybe they even have an online place to shop. And usually those kinds of bookstores, any book you buy from there would be fine. Like you wouldn't have to proofread it or anything. Anyway, I did not answer that question well at all. I'm sorry. Super personal, who takes care of finances, bills, budgeting, planning, etc.? Okay, so Nolan and I do not do the age-old advice that if you don't share a checking account, somehow your marriage is on the rocks. We find it so much easier to each manage our own area. So we kind of do, we both do it. He takes care of all his expenses and all his things as far as like house bills and electrical and all that, all the farm stuff. And then he also takes care of budgeting. Like we have a budget for groceries and we have that figured out together, what we plan each month for each category. And so I know I can spend within that. But then I have things like the coffee, YouTube, and all that. And so I manage that part because I know what I'm spending And so our money is each other's, but we have like separate accounts to kind of keep track, and then we're constantly moving money in between our accounts to like, I help him pay for something, he helps me pay for something, as far as like in our category. So I kind of take care of what's in my designated field, and he takes care of what's in his designated field, and it just works out. And that's how we do it. So tips on transitioning from 1 to 2 kids. Good question. No answers. Actually, it's not that difficult. I would say I think the first one is harder in some ways because you're just new to the whole mom thing. Maybe you already have, whoever, Brianna asked this question, maybe you already have your second child and you're struggling to transition. And if you have a younger, if you have 2 that are close together, like still a baby and then another baby, like a toddler and a baby, that would be very difficult. My oldest was 5 when I had my second, so she just kind of fit into the family. Like it wasn't like I had 2 in diapers. So I felt like there wasn't nearly as big of a splash. Like she just came and it was just, we had the family structure and she just fell right into it. And she was a really good baby. And she made up for that when she got to her toddler years. So I think we're kind of transitioning now. She has that much energy. We love her to pieces, but she has so much energy. She literally can hardly sit still for any period of time. Like literally cannot sit still. She's always fidgeting, always on the move, always needing something. So it's a real high maintenance stage right now. So yeah, I don't know. I honestly do think though, like just that initial splash of having 1 is the most difficult because you're just getting rid of your single life, more like your independent single life, even if you're married, and then you're transitioning into being a mother and all that entails, and all the new things that you just feel so clueless, and how do I handle this? What's going on here? Should I call the doctor? Like, I don't know how to manage this. You feel more confident with your second, and I only have 2. I can only imagine how it feels once you have more than 2. I had posted a picture of us on our bikes with this question on YouTube. Someone said, "Where is mom's helmet? Safety, please." I understand the concern. A lot of people mention this when I go riding bike. I don't wear a helmet usually. And it probably is safer. It is safer. I'm not saying it isn't. But it's just something that I guess I don't worry about quite as much as maybe I should. And it's okay. I think here in Pennsylvania, the law is not, you don't have to wear them, so it's not legally required. I personally, I guess I just feel like everywhere we go, there's a chance that you can get hurt. That when you get in your car, a semi coming the other way could just crash into you and kill you. There are a lot of precautions, and I'm glad for living in a country that puts a lot of those in place. But I feel like we as a society have gone overboard. I mean, the amount of comments that I sometimes get on YouTube videos, and this is my personal opinion, but I'm just gonna, a little bit. If you were this person, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, someone had commented one time, pay attention to your child, he has a knife. This was when Zander was little. And he was trying to open a box, and they were kind of ranting at me that I was not being attentive to my children because I was making a YouTube video, which is a good point. But I was aware of him, and it was like a little butter knife that he was playing with. And I messaged back to this person, said it's a butter knife, like a table knife, a butter knife. He can't hurt himself. And they were like, it doesn't matter, it's a knife. I don't know if they were just felt kind of put on the spot or what, but like there's so many little things like that, like that people, I just feel, sometimes it's like, you know, sometimes people will comment about having children up on the counter. And I can understand they can fall over and hurt themselves. But what's the difference between having a child up on the counter where they're really enjoying watching you make something, they're helping you crack eggs, they're doing all the things. Could they fall down on the floor and hit their head? Yes, they could. Could it hurt? Yes. But how about the playgrounds we go and play at? What about the monkey bars? The really tall slides that children go on, that's a much further fall than on the countertops. So it's like, there's so many things that children can get hurt. And are we gonna let them just live life? Am I going to live life, or am I just gonna always be worried about every little thing that could go wrong? And I don't feel like when we ride bikes, we're not really on the road a lot with vehicles. I just don't really think I'm this active stunt person that needs a helmet. I feel like it's just as dangerous for me to get in the car and go down the interstate as it is for me to get on a bike and ride it. I understand the concern. I'm not poking at anyone here, but there's so many countries you go to that do not have the mindset that we have here in the States. And it's so refreshing. Like, you go to the Netherlands and none of them wear helmets. Like, it's not even a thing. And I don't know, I think some of this stuff is just pounded into our heads that this is just the only way to be safe, and yet we do so many other things that are so much more dangerous, and we don't even think of it because we haven't been programmed that way. So just some of my things. I think you should just let loose a little bit and live life and not always be worried, because if you're constantly worried, everything you do, eventually you'll be that helicopter mom that doesn't allow her children to do anything, climb a tree, any kind of thing that just makes childhood fun, because you're so worried that they're gonna get hurt. And do they get hurt? Yes, they do. That was a long thing. Okay, do you watch other Mennonite moms channels, like maybe while you're folding, washing? What inspired you to have a YouTube channel? I do sometimes, but it's kind of hard to keep up with everyone because I'm busy enough. But I do love listening to podcasts, just different things like that. Like, I love listening to lectures, something that I learned something from. So I tend to watch that kind of stuff more. And then there's a few travel channels that I really, really like. I just love travel. So it depends on who the other, I do kind of keep up with the other Mennonite moms. Like Lynette is a friend of mine. We chat back and forth, but I don't get to watch nearly all her videos. I would wish I could, but it's just too much. You can't keep up with everything. What inspired you to have a YouTube channel? This is kind of an odd, I don't really know how it all started. Oh man, so I always loved to document life, and there were some YouTubers. I had kind of watched the whole vlogging thing and thought it looked interesting, and then I saw Lynette. She was another Mennonite that had done it. And right at the time, the whole renovating RVs was a huge thing, and I thought, hey, this would be fun to like try vlogging and document renovating our RV. And so that's kind of how I started, and then people just started like joining on and jumping in, and I remember having a panic attack when I hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm like, oh, there's 1,000 people that are watching my videos, and I still get stage fright sometimes. Anyway, so it kind of turned into something I never expected, and I don't know how long we'll continue, but for now it's going, like, I'm enjoying it. I love connecting with you all, and so it's just one of those things that you kind of started and didn't see where it would lead. You didn't expect it to go this way, and it just did, and so here we are, and we're continuing. So yeah. How do you get over the death of a husband? Oh my. I don't feel like I'm qualified to speak on this. I'm so sorry. Teresa? Sometimes these usernames are kind of hard to know the name, but I'm sorry if this is you. I'm assuming it is. I cannot imagine. It's one of my biggest fears, is losing a husband or a child. My husband, not a husband. So yeah, the main thing I can say is lean into Jesus. He is the only one that can get you through it and heal your heart and be there like no one else can. I've never walked the road. I don't have any advice. I'm gonna wrap this up. It's been long enough. I will get to these more of the questions later in another video. I'm sorry that some of the questions I ranted a lot longer on than others. But yeah, thanks for submitting your questions. And if I didn't get to yours, I'm sorry. Hopefully we will in another video. Thanks a lot for your support again. And I know I have not been posting every week like I was before. I had told you I'm gonna back off to 2 videos a month, sorry. And that has been really refreshing, and just being able to, yeah, let go of some of that. But I do hope to, I'm not sure, I hope to post a little bit more often than that. But right now I am in such a busy stage with my daughter that literally some days I get absolutely nothing done, not even housework, nothing extra in business wise. And it's okay. It's a stage, it's a season of life, but she is a very, very busy child, a very high maintenance, I would say. And so some days I'm just so exhausted, I just go to bed and take a nap when she does. Anyway, so it's a very busy season right now. So it has been really refreshing just to have a video coming out every other week. Anyway, you all have been very supportive in that, and I thank you, and thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.